Today, we look at lecture 1, which is Introduction to Sound. Introduction to Sound. So this is ESM 101 piano, and we are looking at Introduction to Sound. My name is Emmanuel Edet Adwak. So at the end of this class, we should be able to define sound, highlight and explain the properties of sound, differentiate between pitch and unpitched sound. So let's proceed. What is sound? A sound is any vibration traveling through the air or other medium which can be heard when it reaches a person's ear. Sound waves are either longitudinal or mechanical. Longitudinal sound waves oscillate parallel to propagation, while mechanical sound waves requires a medium for it to travel. Now, let's look at the speed of sound. Based on the medium with which sound travels, in solid, sound travels faster compared to liquid, compared to gases. So sound travels fastest in solids, then fast in liquid, and very slow in gases. Sound, based on temperature, sound travels faster in warmer air than cooler or cold air. So now, how is sound produced? When an object vibrates, it creates sounds. And this sound could be loud, deep, and long, short and high-pitched. It could be grave, pure, distorted, and so on and so forth. So any sound your ear can hear is created by the mechanical back and forth motion of an object. How is sound heard? Sound is heard. Sound waves are funneled by the pinna into the ear canal. The tympanic membrane is then vibrated like a drum by the compressional sound waves. So tiny bones transfer the wave motion to a soft fluid-filled organ in the inner ear. Now, in the inner ear, the spiral-shaped cochlea has tiny air-shaped cells inside that transfer the mechanical energy of the wave into electrical energy. Your brain interprets different tones or pitches depending on which cells in the cochlea are moved by the sound wave passing through the fluid. So high frequencies stimulate the base, while low pitches makes the air of the apex to vibrate. So here's unbalance. As your body moves, air cells in the semicircular canals are bent over when the fluid inside flows past them. So three canals are orientated in three directional planes, such as yaw, that is responsible for rotation, pitch, backward and forward movement, and roll, side to side movement. So the human ear has limits to the frequency it can take. For example, ultrasonic waves are frequencies above what humans can hear, and the ultrasonic waves is between 20,000 plus hertz. So infrasonic waves are frequencies below what humans can hear. Even animals have the frequencies that they can hear also. But for humans, it is between 20 to 20,000 hertz. Now, decibel levels of common sounds. There are some sounds which their decibel levels have been measured. For example, jet engine takes off at 140 decibel. The jackhammer has 120 decibel. Then some of these sounds can cause damage to the ear. Now, hearing damage depends on the sound amplitude, that's the loudness. It can also depend on the frequency of the sound, which is the pitch. It can also depend on the duration of exposure of the sound. Duration of exposure of the sound. What are the differences between sound and noise? Sound is pleasant to hear, while noise is unpleasant. Sound is constant, has constant pitch, while noise has varying pitch. Sound has regular periodic motion, while noise has irregular motion. Sound produces meaningful communication and it has hertz as its unit, while noise produces meaningless communication and it has decibel as its unit. These are the differences between sound and noise. Now let's look at properties of pitch, properties of sound. Properties of sound, we have pitch, amplitude, timbre, duration, and speed. We are going to look at each of them one after the other. So pitch is a quality that enables us to judge sounds as being higher or lower. So a high-pitched sound causes molecules to rapidly oscillate, while a low-pitched sound causes slower oscillation. Then we also have amplitude. Amplitude of a sound determines its relative loudness. In music, loudness of a note is called its dynamic level. Higher amplitude corresponds to louder sound, while lower amplitude corresponds to quieter sound. We also have timbre, which is also referred to as tone color or feel of the sound. Timbre, sounds with various timbre produce different shapes, different wave shapes, which affect our interpretation of the sound. So the sound of a piano is different from that of a guitar. Duration. Duration is the amount of time that a pitch or tone lasts. It could be long, short, or take some amount of time. Duration of a note or tone influences the timbre or rhythm of the sound. So speed is another property of sound. The speed of a sound is the distance traveled by unit of time by a sound wave as it propagates through a medium. So the speed of sound is how fast vibrations travel, and it depends strongly on temperature and the medium of propagation. So let's also look at what are the differences between pitched and unpitched sounds. First and foremost, let's look at pitched sound. A pitched sound is a sound that has specific musical pitch, meaning they produce a sensation of high or low frequency and can be identified as a specific note or pitch. For example, a piano playing a C4 notes, which have frequency 261.63 Hz. An unpitched sound is a sound that do not have a specific musical pitch and do not produce a sensation of high or low frequencies and cannot be identified as a specific note or pitch. For example, a drum beat. What are the differences between pitched and unpitched sound? So in terms of frequency and pitch, pitch sounds have specific frequency while unpitched sound does not have. In terms of musical use, pitch sounds are used in melody and harmony, while unpitched sounds are used in rhythm and timbre. In terms of production, pitch sounds are produced by vibrating objects, while unpitched sounds are produced by other means such as striking and bowing. In terms of perception, pitched sounds are produced or perceived as musical notes, while unpitched sounds are perceived as noise. So what are the differences also between loudness and pitch? Loudness is the property of a sound by virtue of which a loud sound can be distinguished from a faint one, while pitch is that characteristic of sound by which a shrill sound can be distinguished from a grave or a flat sound. Loudness depends on the amount of sound energy received by the ear, while pitch is independent of the amount of energy received by the ear. Loudness does not change with the change in frequency, while pitch changes with changes in frequency. With this, we have come to the end of today's lesson, Introduction to Sound. So, in the next class, you are to come with your questions, and then you should be able to answer. You should be able to define sound, differentiate between pitched and unpitched sound, and also state the properties or list the properties of sounds. So it's been nice having you in class today. Of course, don't forget this is ESM 101 Piano, every student a musician, and see you in the next class. My name remains Mr. Emmanuel Edet Adwa. Thank you. Bye-bye.